Hey y'all! Pokemon Crystal using only Pineco almost put me in the cone of shame. So this week it's time to rock out! Let's find out if there's coal in our stocking by trying to beat Pokemon Red using only one Geodude. As usual, the rules are we can only use one Geodude in battle, and I can't use any items in battle. By the way, if you like this kind of content and want to see more, be sure to subscribe and check out more of these videos on my channel. Geodude is one of the first Pokemon you see in Red and Blue, and it's also the first Pokemon Charmander lovers grew to hate. It's also one of those Pokemon Brock used in the anime that got a lot of screen time, and it sounds absolutely ridiculous. Its name is based off of geodes, which are formations of sedimentary rocks that contain minerals or crystals encased within. I have fond memories as a child of getting geodes as a stocking stuffer for Christmas, putting them in a tube sock, and then proceeding to slam them on the sidewalk to break them open and see what's inside. I guess my mom must have used the Rock Smash TM on me when I was young. Okay, alright. In terms of the stats and move pool, Geodude has really great defense and decent attack, but with the downside of bad speed and terrible special. Plus, Ground and Rock gives Geodude 2 double weaknesses in Grass and Water. Oh boy. The upside to this typing is that it's one of the best offensive combinations in the game, and Geodude gets some of the best physical moves available in Earthquake and Rock Slide. We got a whole lot to get through, so buckle up. Alright, let's do this. Off at Professor Oak's lab, I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Squirtle with Geodude so that the rival will pick Bulbasaur. By the end of the run, the rival's Venusaur will know Razor Leaf, a move that will always critical hit and is double super effective, leaving me between a rock and a hard place. Speaking of which, Geodude looks like a little lump of coal, and since it's the holiday season, I nickname ours Old King Coal. Geodude starts off with only Tackle, but as things stand, it's more than enough to defeat the rival's Bulbasaur. I mean, that's going to change drastically as soon as it learns Vine Whip, but that won't happen until later, baby. This battle, though, makes me feel what Brock must feel every time I rock up to his gym with only a weak normal move to fight his Geodude. Geodude? More like Geodude all over your Pokemon! Let's not get ahead of ourselves, though. I have to fight Brock next. And just because we have a Geodude ourselves doesn't make this Rubble Rumble any easier. In fact, the only difference between this battle and every other challenge run where we only have normal moves is that we at least resist Brock's attacks as well. This battle didn't really work for us until Geodude hit level 16 and learned Rock Throw. It's a terribly inaccurate move and is still resisted by Brock's Pokemon, but it is same type attack boosted and does significantly more damage than Tackle. It does have disappointingly little PP, and effectively even less when you consider how often it misses, being only 60% accurate. We get through Geodude pretty easily, but then we run out of Rock Throw PP on the Onix, so I have to finish off the battle with the much weaker Tackle. And it might not seem like it, but Geodude actually had a fairly easy time with Brock, but still, never fun when you have to do this. And I've definitely had a much worse time with other Pokemon, looking at you, Execute, so I guess I can't complain. I mean, that Brock battle had me feeling totally ripped off. What a complete gypsum! Yeah, we're doing geology jokes, y'all! After traversing Mount Moon, I make it to Cerulean City and take on the rival Bubs. His lead, Pudgeotto, is super annoying by constantly spamming Sand Attack to lower our accuracy. Well, at least it's weak to Rock Throw, though. That's pretty nifty, when it hits. Bubs' Abra can't attack us, so I maximize our defense stat using Defense Curl. The defense isn't all that important, but I'm trying to increase our attack using badge boost mechanics. And for those that might not know, every time your stats are modified in this game, the boost to your stats given by the badges are reapplied. So, using Defense Curl here raises our attack stat thanks to Brock's Boulder badge. Unfortunately though, we level up, which resets the badge boost to our stats, so that was a delightful waste of time. Rattata can't do much to us, and Bulbasaur thankfully doesn't use Vine Whip, which would have really stung. That's okay though, because grass moves can't hurt you if you never see them. It's like the saying goes, out of Cal's sight, out of mind. I battled every trainer I could find for experience, but I still couldn't beat Misty, so I head to the SS Sand for another battle with the rival Bubs. Geodude is a much higher level and has a huge upgrade with the ground move Dig. It's as strong as Earthquake in this game, and Geodude learned it by level up, so I still have a Dig TM to spare. This one move turns Geodude from a puny pebble into a stone-cold killer. Bubs' team goes down easily to Rock Throw and Dig, and even though Ivysaur didn't use Vine Whip, we still would have won had it done so. That's because we're a much higher level, and despite our special not having changed much with those levels, the damage calculation in this game factors in your level, so being a higher level when you have a low special stat makes much more of a difference than you might realize. At this point, I would completely stomp Lieutenant Surge, if I could actually get to his gym, but I need to cut a bush to do so, and I need Misty's badge to use Cut. And this battle's still pretty tough, and I repeatedly lose to her lead Staryu. Water moves are double super effective, and her Pokemon have high base speed, meaning they're more likely to land critical hits in this game. Yay! I lose this battle a ton, but it's always surprisingly close, which lights Sapphire under my butt to keep trying. I go and defeat all the available trainers around Vermilion City and come back at level 32. What's different this time? Geodude now knows Earthquake. It's basically Dig, but better! Now we don't have to take 2 turns to attack, which gives Misty less chances to use X-Defense, which make our attacks do less damage. And hey, remember that thing I said about level playing an important role in the damage calculation? Well, those 4 extra levels allow us to barely survive Starmie's water gun at full health and cement ourselves a victory. Well, now that I've finally defeated Misty, I can go back to Vermilion City to smack around Lieutenant Surge real quick. Geodude is immune to electric moves, so Surge can't touch us. With Earthquake, we do more damage to Surge's Pokemon than negligence has done to the American infrastructure system. Heck, our highways look like they've been hit by an earthquake, and potholes should not be able to regenerate like Majin Buu, y'all. After heading through Rock Tunnel, I make it to Lavender Town, but no better than to take on the rival Bubs just yet, so instead I head to Celadon City to take on Giovanni in the Team Rocket Game Corner hideout. Geodude beats up Giovanni's team pretty badly, but it is important to note here that I grabbed the TM for Rock Slide from the Celadon City department store and immediately taught it to Geodude. It's like Rock Throw, but better. With our upgraded moveset, I'm starting to think that Geodude might actually be one of the best Pokemon that we've used in one of these runs. But then again, maybe I'm Opal reacting. Okay, so now that we have a stronger, more accurate rock move, I feel confident that we can beat the rival Bubs in Lavender Town. He has a Gyarados and it knows Hydro Pump, which even at our high level, will knock us the heck out. The good news is that Hydro Pump is only 80% accurate, so after a couple of resets, it misses, and we smack down the Flying Sea Serpent. After that, Earthquake crashes through the rest of Bubs' Pokemon. And dosh darn it, Geodude is actually kinda crushing it right now. And the steam train keeps on rolling when we head down to the Fuchsia City Gym to take on the Poison-type gym leader Koga. Poison is weak to ground, so Earthquake one-hit KOs every single one of his Poison Pokemon faster than you can say, "Don't pollute, you acute brute." It's crazy that we've made it through this much of the run already without having to really utilize badge boosts in any meaningful way. Geodude is actually just that strong, but like me, doesn't know how to receive a compliment. It's okay, little buddy. You're doing great. No need to be turquoise. Oh my god. After beating Koga, it's time for yet another painful rival battle with Bubs in the Sylph Company building in Saffron City. There is a simple strategy for winning. It just requires a lot of patience. Bubs' lead Pidgeot can't really damage Geodude, so I use this opportunity to use Harden to badge boost our speed and attack to allow us to outspeed the Gyarados and one-hit KO it with Rock Slide. The only problem with that is that it gives Pidgeot up to 6 opportunities to lower our accuracy with Sand Attack, and Rock Slide is already 90% accurate, and that's not great. Missing Rock Slides leaves us open to getting washed away by Gyarados' Hydro Pump, but what are you gonna do? Gems the brakes! Like I said, a simple strategy, but ultimately very frustrating. I had to reset this battle a lot before I finally got past the Gyarados, and I really wish we could have sped this up with a 4-leaf clover to increase our luck. You know, that would have really sham-rocked. The key here is to make sure that Geodude has just leveled up so that it won't level up until the end of the battle. And with all these boosts, Geodude's attack stat is super stacked, and its speed lets it move before all of Bubs' Pokemon. Besides the Alakazam, of course. That thing's just way too fast. I don't know if we'll ever be able to outspeed it, but as long as we can move before the Venusaur, everything is A-okay. After all the resets and hardens I had to click to beat Bubs, I'm more than happy to stroll up on Giovanni in the Sylph Company building and just click Earthquake 4 times. I'll take this opportunity instead to reflect upon the challenge thus far. Geodude has done surprisingly well. However, experience tells me that things are going to get really tough as soon as we get to the first Elite Four member, so I'll try not to rest on my Loreleis. You know, this whole corny pun thing only started as a gag, but people liked it so much, I've just decided to lean into it. And since we're already in town, I decided to pay a visit to the Saffron City Psychic Soothsayer Sabrina, and since I already know I'm not going to be able to outspeed her Alakazam, I forego using any kind of badge boost with Harden, and instead just go to town with full out offense. Even after we get paralyzed by Venomoth's Stun Spore, Alakazam wastes its time by going for the 2 worst moves it has rather than just finishing off our rock. Giala, gee whiz, that was dumb of her. After beating Sabrina, I head to the Cinnabar Island gym for what was an easy gym battle despite some weirdly unfortunate luck. Again, I could have easily manipulated our experience and set up Hardens against the lead Growlithe to outspeed all of Blaine's Pokemon, but I don't do that. I just start spamming Earthquake and that works pretty great. This bites me in the lumpy coals though, when Arcanine burns us with Fire Blast, which halves our attack. But then Geodude retaliates by getting a critical hit to ignore all of that noise, which is incredibly unlikely because of Geodude's super low base speed. Pretty crazy, am I right? Before I can take on Giovanni for the last gym badge, first I have to take on Erica's Grass-type team at the Celadon City Gym. Yeah, did you forget about her? Well, I definitely didn't. I've been avoiding this for the better part of the run, but now we're so strong that we blow through her Pokemon with Earthquake. Victory Bell goes down easy, but just to be safe, I badge boost with Harden against the Tangela since it doesn't actually have any grass moves. After that, Earthquake decimates the Vileplume, and while I don't know whether or not the badge boost actually mattered, I also don't care. You know, I really hyped up Erica in my mind, but turns out we had a much easier time than I expected. Huh. Pretty anticlimactic after Emerald that build-up. Now it's time for the final showdown with Giovanni for our final gym badge. And this battle was super easy. All of his Pokemon besides the Dugtrio are weak to Earthquake, and Dugtrio is the only member of his team that has a ground move that can hit us. Just to be safe though, I set up Hardens against the Rhyhorn, which not only badge boosts our speed to let us go before the Dugtrio, but it also makes our defense so high that Giovanni can't do any significant damage to us. We level up after the Nidoqueen and lose our badge boost, but that doesn't actually matter. We're still smashing Giovanni's Pokemon harder than I used to smash those Geodes on my sidewalk growing up. Or as I like to call it, flatten 'em like platinum. Before we can take on the Elite Four, we have to battle the rival Bubs once again. But don't worry, I've got this battle in the bag. His Pidgeot no longer has Sand Attack, so now it can't do a dang thing to our Geodude. So time to badge boost, right? No. I wait until we knock out the Pidgeot because then we level up, which resets badge boost. And Rhyhorn is just as ineffectual as the Pidgeot, so now I start badge boosting. And the great thing about this is that not only do we get badge boost from Harden, but Rhyhorn also lowers our defense with Tail Whip, which gives us more badge boost and also lets us use more Hardens. And with all of these badge boosts, Geodude does something that I previously thought was impossible. It outspeeds the Alakazam. Seriously, I'm going to say that again. It outspeeds the Alakazam, which I didn't even think was possible. And if you had told me that before this battle, I would have said, that's ridiculous. Don't be Obsidian. With an incredible victory behind us, it's time to take on the Elite Four. Geodude's move pool is the same as always, and if not for Lorelei, it wouldn't need to change. But if you look at the stats, you can figure out why we need to shake things up a bit. Our special is really bad, and Lorelei's Pokemon are special attackers. So I'm worried I Malachite not be able to win. Speaking of Lorelei, she's up first, and her Pokemon are all a combination of water and ice type Pokemon. And contrary to popular belief, Geodude is actually not double weak to ice. But it doesn't matter, because her lead Dugong's Aurora Beam still hits super hard thanks to our low special. Plus, it has a chance to lower our attack stat. At level 52, this is just not even possible. It's pretty crazy how this challenge took a hard 180 with Lorelei, considering how much easier the rest of the challenge has been thus far. I guess that's what I get for taking things for granted. So I do a bunch of leveling and try this again at level 60, and I make sure to only attempt the battle with Lorelei at specific levels, those that end in 0, 3, 5, and 8. With the way the damage calculation works in this game, we get an extra point of damage due to how the formula rounds at those levels. But even at level 53, 55, 58, and 60, we're still having no luck. So there's nothing to do but keep grinding. And by the way, while I was grinding for all these extra levels, I put Netflix on in the background just to pass the time. And at level 66, despite what I just said about damage rounding levels, I decided to try Lorelei anyways. And if you ask why, it's because I'm tired of leveling up. After all, I need to move on with my life, and I figured I would spend less time resetting to get good body slam paralysis luck than I would by leveling Geodude up more than I already have. It does take about a half an hour of resetting to make this happen, and it feels pretty scummy, but desperate times call for desperate measures. With 6 badge boosts thanks to more paralysis luck than you can shake a stick at, Geodude crushes the rest of Lorelei's team, even one-hit KOing the Slowbro with a neutral Earthquake. And I'm just glad to be done with this whole battle. That experience was pretty aggregating. And with Lorelei finally out of the way, we've got a few easy battles ahead of us. The first of these is Bruno, who I don't even bother using badge boosts against. The only one of his Pokemon I'm worried about is the Machamp, who can hit us with super effective submissions. And I guess I haven't really mentioned the fighting type as one of Geodude's weaknesses, because honestly, the fighting type offensively is absent from the majority of this game. And there are only 4 fighting type attacks that can actually do super effective damage, and most of them are on Bruno's team. One of them being Submission, which Machamp did end up going for, but it was actually doing us a favor since he knocked himself out with Recoil. I guess it technically would have been safer to set up 6 Hardens, but we were never in any real danger, I assure you. Next up is the Elite Four member Agatha. Geodude is able to hit her entire team for super effective damage, but that doesn't make this easy. Her Pokemon are faster and spam moves like Hypnosis and Confuse Ray. So I was originally hoping to get enough badge boosts to outspeed her Pokemon, but it turns out that not only was that a bad idea, but it was honestly completely unnecessary. On the next go around though, I forego the badge boosting and instead just spam attacks. My previous strategy was too abstract, so I'm glad to have something more concrete. And it turns out that Geodude is able to one-hit KO all of Agatha's Pokemon without any badge boosts. That includes the badge boosts that we get without doing any boosting, since Golbat's Haze removed all of those as well. Agatha still tries her darndest to make things difficult for us, and Geodude smacks itself multiple times in confusion, but we're still able to win. And considering the fact that the first loss was mainly due to my own hubris, I'll consider this a spiritual first try victory against Agatha. Which is a refreshing change of pace compared to our usual runs, where normally I end up feeling pretty jaded. Next up is the final Elite Four member, Lance the Dragon Master. This battle would be a complete cakewalk if not for the fact that he has a Gyarados that knows Hydro Pump. Ugh. Well, there's no shot I could survive a Hydro Pump, so what am I gonna do? Level up until we survive one? No, you silly goose. I'm just going to wait for Hydro Pump to miss, because that's way easier. And this only took a couple of tries before Gyarados missed, so I'm glad I went this route instead of leveling up. And once Gyarados goes down, the battle's much easier. I go for badge boost, and even with Dragonair using multiple Dragon Rages, there's no controlling the Coal. Even Lance's Dragonite only does 8 damage to Geodude with a Hyper Beam. That's pretty crazy. And yes, I know we took a lot of damage and finished the battle on super low health, but there was never any reason to quarry. Finally, it's time to take on the champion, our rival Bubs. I'll be going for badge boost, obviously, so I use a rare candy to level up and reset our experience so we don't lose our badge boost by leveling up during the battle. I only need 1 rare candy to do so, but I used 2 just to hit level 70 for that extra damage rounding that I mentioned earlier. And before the battle, Bubs claims to be the most powerful trainer in the world. Well, where I come from, them's is fighting quartz. The battle starts, and just like the last time we fought Bubs, his lead Pidgeot can't do a dang thing, so there's no reason to not set up all 6 Hardens for badge boosts. And with all of that extra attack, Geodude is able to one-hit KO the Pidgeot with Rock Slide. What's actually really surprising is that Geodude even outspeeds Bubs' Alakazam, and with less badge boosts than the last time that happened. So, as long as we don't miss Rock Slide on Gyarados, there is not a single thing that Bubs can do to stop us. And I consider this to be a Christmas miracle. So cue the angelic music, Geode to Joy. And with that, the challenge is over. For a Pokemon which I expected to be terrible, Geodude blew my socks off. In reality, Geodude only struggled against a single trainer in Lorelei, and she's a problem for pretty much every Pokemon, so that's saying something. In fact, compared to all the other ground and rock types we've used, it doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to figure out that Geodude was the best. In fact, I'd say it was quite sedimentary, my dear Watson. As always, I want to thank you for making it to the end of this video. These videos are a lot of fun, but also a lot of work, so I really do appreciate it. There's a playlist on my channel where you can check out the rest of my Pokemon challenge videos as well. And if you like this kind of content and want to see more, be sure to subscribe and enable notifications so you'll know right away the next time one of these episodes is uploaded. And if you want early access to these videos and to have your name listed in the credits, consider becoming a member or by joining on Patreon. And let me know in the comments what other Pokemon you want to see, and I'll probably do it. Next week is the beginning of Hanukkah, so to commemorate, I'm going to try beating Pokemon Crystal using only one Hitmontop. That's all for me this video. Time to drop the mica, so until next time,